See, y'all got the same title for the YouTube every time. I say October 19th again. That's why.
You'll have to change it into YouTube.
I know.
In your settings.
I already know.
Yeah, talk to your audience. I'm waiting for everybody to get in.
Okay, you streaming live?
Live.
Okay, we live. I'm waiting for everybody to tune in. You know, we on Color People time, CP time. So we about to get started. You know what I mean? First off, I want y'all to let y'all know, follow your dreams, yo. Follow your heart. Do what you want to do in your life. You are in 100% control of this. I've been drinking. Maybe I'm filling my drink already. I feel like my words slowing. Alright, my mother made me some chicken too. I ain't gonna take a bite right now. Alright, and today is no. Alright, come on, let me do the introduction. Let me get to the introduction. It's Tittz Live, November 16, 2017. Today's topic of the day is black business and spending. So first off, I had asked a couple people, just send me a couple black businesses. Ain't too many people reach out, but so I want to shout out Fast Signs at 210 Market Street, Newark, New Jersey, and Auto Boys Detailing on Union Street in Linden. You know what I mean? Shout out to those black businesses. And you know, and I'm thinking about starting up a second show, and I'm looking for a co-host, yo. So if you're interested in possibly being a co-host, reach out to me on my inbox or hit me at kingtitz@gmail.com. You know what I mean? Or send me a link or something. Let me see what the fuck you doing, what you talking about. Alright, and I also want y'all to recognize that GQ gave Colin Kaepernick, can we pull up the Colin Kaepernick picture? Colin Kaepernick, the GQ cover for him, recognizing him as one of the men of the year. You know what I mean? Good thing for that brother. You know, he sacrificed his NFL position for black social injustice, you know, getting blackballed in the NFL and all that and all that. Alright, so now we're going to get into our topic of the day, or just our introduction. You know, we know that we talking about black business, and you know the number one rule to black business is to mind your motherfucking business. You know what I mean? Your number one rule to black business, your motherfucking business, but we're going to take it up a notch today. You know what I mean? We're talking about black business. I plan on touching on how we run black business, support black business, the spiderweb doctrine, and black consumption, black spending. You know what I mean? I brought it back to black spending because I didn't want to, you know what I mean? Because I know some of my more people, they're going to be acting like you trying to use big words, that kind of stuff. So first of all, do you fear your sister or brother being successful? You know what I mean? Because I want us to not be in this crabs in a barrel type mentality. And are you one of the crabs in a barrel? We must not be crabs, yo. Let go of the hate, especially the self-hate. Support and encourage each other, your brother and your sister. But first, alright, we're going to jump into our first clip, you know what I mean? Because we have like issues with support, you know what I mean? And it might be real reasons why. So could we run that first clip?
What's the first clip?
The Just Hilarious clip. Why she don't support black business. Well, I'm gonna eat some of this chicken while y'all check.
So, alright, listen. A lot of black people know me. And their biggest problem with me is that I don't support black businesses. And when I say this is like a hate crime. Like, you don't support black businesses? No, I don't. Then they say shit like, well, that means you don't like black people. Sure I do, sugar. But all black businesses are not professional enough for me. And I ain't spending money on non-professionalism just because your skin is black. All these black-owned restaurants and shit opening when the fuck they want to open. And what kills me is they got hours of operation on their door and on their little websites. They say they open from 9 to 9 and they don't open till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Something ain't right. There's no way your restaurant should be closed on your birthday. You should have people working for you on that day. And then black businesses known for running out of shit. How the fuck you run out of crab cakes? Every day. Something will tell you to buy more of that shit because that's what everybody like. The most fucked up part, the name of the restaurant is called Crab Palace. You think Red Lobster gonna run out of lobster? Huh? I support white businesses.
That sound like so
Okay, all right. Let me clear it up for y'all, angry black people. Because everybody always seems so angry when I tell the truth. But because my black people are my predominant fan base, I'ma explain. Not all black businesses, which is what I thought I said in the first video.
Yeah, she said that.
It's what I thought I said in the first video.
You ain't making a focal
but for
point,
my
but she
blacks
said it.
with selective hearing, meaning you hear what you want to hear, I do not support all black businesses, okay? For instance, black stylists that tell you to be at the shop at 9, but they don't come strolling in until 10:30 with a hangover. For instance, the black nail techs that charge $70 for what I can go pay $30 for. For instance, the black business owners that don't carry business cards. Instead, here, you can take my number down.
Yeah, that's always in the salon,
on another note,
shops,
this is not glue. This is old edge control from me laying down my edges last
So you
night.
know who she
So
talking
before
to.
you handsome bitches try to come for me, just know I got time. See? This is exactly the shit that I'm talking about. I went to go get some damn crabs today because I'm feeling crabby. And it's a nice day to sit on my porch and eat some damn crabs. Since everybody giving me a hard time about not supporting my own people and shit, I decided to get some crabs from a black-owned business. I called and ordered them, go pick them up. I said, all right, let me get some paper so I can put the crabs on. He told me, I'm sorry, man, we out of paper. I said, all right, cool, I can use newspaper. Let me get some butter so I can dip my crab meat in some butter. He like, I'm sorry, we out of butter too. Y'all can think I'm lying if y'all want. These are the motherfucking crabs. I lied to you not. I just made a video about this shit this morning, right? I said, damn, how y'all ain't got no paper or no butter? All y'all got is crabs, huh? Just crabs. He said, yeah, and we only had a little bit of obey. So if you like extra obey, I'm sorry. I said, really, nigga? He said, yeah, we just had death in our family, so we just opened back up. That's what I'm talking about. The white motherfuckers wouldn't have did that. Death and all, they'd have made sure they stocked up before the funeral. Huh? No. I'm so not done with this topic. Everybody keeps commenting about how if they knew better, they'll do better. So instead of complaining about the black-owned businesses, you should tell them so they can make it better. You should help them, uplift them, sister. Fuck out of here. Listen, let me tell you something. If you went into a white-owned business, an Arab-owned business, or whatever, you wouldn't help them uplift instead of complaining. Nah, you will fucking complain because you expect them to have their shit together because they any other color but black, right? Stop playing with me. Y'all sound dumb as shit. That's one thing I'm not doing. I'm not baby stepping another black person to get their business where it need to be. If you bold enough to go get your own business, be bold enough to take pride in that motherfucker and run it right. It's easy. Do the fucking research, figure out what people want, and make it happen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm ready to get my head done.
Alright, y'all gonna stop the clip right there. You know what I mean? And to me, that's kind of funny because I had this talk with one of my friends all the time, and she sort of stand on the same side that Just Hilarious stand on, and I'll be on that side where, you know, you got to work with our black businesses because they don't have the resources these other businesses have and all that other stuff. But I understand how you could be frustrated when you spending your money. We all ain't got it like that to just be spending our money on bullshit and trying to be working with people and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? We try to save our dollars like the next person, but she had some valid points in her video, which is one, lack of professionalism. You know what I mean? We all get tired of the bullshit going in businesses, and you know they be off their bullshit. You know what I mean? And then, you know, she made another valid point, was like, do your research. Know what your customers want. I mean, yeah, do your research. Yes, definitely know what your customers want. You know what I mean? And that's what I just thought about, just bringing up Nicki Minaj. I once touched on Nicki Minaj on my second show. You know what I mean? and Nicki Minaj know what we want. Like I told y'all, like when it comes to female rappers, I don't truly be into the lyricism and all that type of shit. I be into the looks and the physical and stuff like that first. That's what get me interested. And when Nicki Minaj know just what to do, you know what I mean? This was her cover for, what's that, Player magazine? Or whatever. What is it?
It says Paper.
Paper magazine. And the question she had was, do you want a Minaj? And look, do y'all want a Minaj? When she sell it to you like that, you know what I mean? Nicki Minaj know what she doing, yo. That's what she talk about, knowing what people want, yo. She gonna give you what she want. That's why I classify her as a more polished artist, yo. She is like, she been around this business. She know how to serve her fans in the way that she want. That's why she invested in her assets, you know what I mean? Because she know sex sells, and she gonna ask you, do you want a Minaj? And her name is Nicki Minaj, and you might want a Minaj. You know what I mean? But that comes in a, you know what I mean, just being educated in your craft and knowing how to give people what they want. So we gonna kind of go into that with you know what I mean? Go to the Dr. Umar clip, you know what I mean? But Umar talk about how we, as black people, we don't be prepared for business, you know what I mean? We're not educated like that to be prepared for business. You know what I mean? That ain't what we taught in school, you know what I mean? Other people were taught a little something different. And we're gonna recognize, we're gonna take the time to acknowledge what other people are taught in this show when it comes to black people. Okay, we run that clip?
And now, an exclusive first look at the upcoming documentary, 7 a.m.
Because true economic science is a branch of military science. War and money go hand in hand. Most wars are fights so people can make more money, and war is money. So that means what? That the European American is not about to prepare black children to compete with his children for control of the economic sector. It's not going to happen. So if black people want this science, we got to teach it, we got to study it, and we're going to have to make some mistakes in perfecting it because we're still babies in the water of global economic commerce. As African people, we are financially illiterate. So we should not be surprised that we're so economically backward because we were never taught how to be economically forward. Our education in America has not provided or prepared us to be able to compete with Europeans economically. The historically black college was designed to do what? Teach you how to work for white people. Public schools, charter schools, parochial schools, independent schools. What is the purpose of education in America for black children right now? To teach them how to make a living working for white people. But I don't want the kids coming to my school to be going to class thinking that I'm learning this so I can go and get paid by a white person. They're going to be empowered to start their own business. When they leave that school, they're going to go into business. And why do we need our people to be self-sufficient? Because when you're not self-sufficient, you can't speak your mind. One of the biggest reasons why black people have been so cowardly in the post-civil rights movement, not standing up for ourselves, standing up for our children, standing up against police brutality, we're scared to lose our jobs. We have to work, we got kids. I can't talk about the racism on my job. I might lose it. So the reason why we're not speaking our mind is because we don't have economic freedom. As Mr. Garvey said, Marcus Garvey said, that a solid racial program must be built on a solid economic foundation. Show me your economic condition, and I'll show me your political condition. The political economy of the black community rests on the premise that because they do not make their own money, they are enslaved to Europeans. And as a result of that, they will never be able to do what needs to be done to carve out a future for their children, because the hand that pays is also the hand that rules them.
Okay. Now what Dr. Umar basically was saying, that we not like properly educated to be business owners, and we can't control our own destiny because we sort of taught to depend on, you know what I mean, the white people to give us jobs, because that's kind of the way we educated, you know what I mean? But I kind of did like a perception or a pre-assumption of what I thought, like that Marcus, that black people would be like succeeding in, and I thought like black people would be succeeding in like the food, the drugs, the hair, and the entertainment, and construction. You know what I mean? But I did like a little research, and I came across this, which was a chart, you know what I mean, on the black-owned business earnings. Could y'all pull up the chart for the black-owned business earnings? Y'all got that chart ready? Okay. All right. Well, based on the black-owned business earnings chart, like we earn the most in healthcare and social services, retail trade, professional, scientific, and technical service, the hotel trade, and wholesale trade, not hotel, wholesale trade, and waste management. You know what I mean? But those are the fields that we make the most money in. And you know, I had another chart which was about like the power of business ownership. But hopefully we get to that and come back to that later, because I feel like that was a very deep point. So, you know what I mean? That's like, we get back to that. But, you know, I'm going to read y'all a little short passage from this book that I had read not too long ago, which is called The Capitalist Nigga, The Road to Success and the Spiderweb Doctrine. You know what I mean? And it's something we're going to touch on in a minute, but I just wanted to read something from the book, which I felt like just tapped into something we all deal with when it comes to black business. It say, in every major city in America where majority of Africans live, you are likely to notice a lot of businesses boarded up. The owner probably started the business on the whim that blacks will rush in and patronize the business. Invariably, he neither researched the business nor determined which products the community around him would demand. Most of our people go into business to be their own boss rather than going into business to serve the customers. Africans have a very bad attitude to business. The complaint you often hear about black businesses is the attitude of the owner to the public at large. You go into the establishment, the individual behind the counter totally ignores you. He has the boss mentality of doing business. You must wait until he is ready to serve you. This attitude creates problems in several ways. The attitude has several negative repercussions. Customers are angered, and the word gets around about the uppity attitude of the business, or the owner of the business. Because the lack of customers, he is unable to sell the products he has procured. In most cases, when you go to purchase from him, the product is no longer fresh and the shelf life has expired. This creates a vicious cycle. Because he lacks customers, he cries that blacks don't patronize him and goes out of business. Barely 3 weeks after he closes the store and abandons whatever he's able to sell, Chinese, Korean, or an Arab moves into the same spot. Before you can say Jack Daniels, we are flocking to that store, and before you know it, the owner is thriving and taking our money and reinvesting into his own community. That's like a little short, what's the name, from this book, Capitalist Nigga. I be reading, or I read once upon a time ago. You know what I mean? And it's just about, you know what I mean, how we get our black finances back as a black community. I mean, I'll just close that up. I mean, but I just wanted to share that with y'all, because that's something I probably feel like y'all could be familiar with, like when y'all come across black business. That was the pulled up the chart about the power of black ownership. You know what I'm saying? I can't even see that. Let me try to pull it up on my phone. But we got the power of black ownership chart up there. And it basically just shows how each race and a power of ownership is different. Like, white ownership creates 55 million jobs. Even though this chart is a little outdated, it's from 2015. It was just one of the most recent things that I had to go off of. But you know, off of the white-owned businesses, they could create employment for 44% of the working age white population. Asian owned 33% of the working population. Hispanic 8%. And black owned, we could create 1 million jobs, which could employ 4%, and you know, present 7,000 for the working class people. And one interesting thing about me looking this up was, which in a place where I read this from, it said that we weren't even the least educated. The Hispanics were the least educated, but when it comes to their people, they still able to present more jobs for their people than we are. You know what I mean? Which is a very deep thing. You know what I mean? It goes into the how do we manage our money? How do we protect our culture? How do we protect our people? How are they less educated but still able to produce more businesses and more jobs for their people? You know. All right, but could we just play that Malcolm X clip? You know what I mean? Before I introduce y'all into the spiderweb doctrine type of thing. See what Malcolm X once told us.
If white immigrants can come to this country 50 years ago with nickels and dimes and no education, and come here and pool their little nickels and dimes and no education, and set up little stores, develop these stores into larger stores, develop this into an industry which creates job opportunities for whites. Since Lincoln was supposed to have freed the black man 100 years ago, and today the black man, according to the government economists, has spending power of $20 billion per year. We feel that with the black man spending $20 billion a year, not setting up any businesses, not creating any industry, not creating any job opportunities for his own kind, he's not in a moral position to point the finger today at the white man and tell the white man that he's discriminating against him for not giving him a job in factories that he himself set up. If the black man has $20 billion, and these so-called Negro leaders are such geniuses that they can integrate white restaurants and integrate white factories and force themselves into that which the white man has set up, they should use this same ingenuity to show the black people how to pool our wealth and set up something of our own. And then we won't have to force our way into his anymore. One more thing I would like to point out concerning what he said about 125th Street. We don't waste our time on 125th Street, but you can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circles. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man in your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
All right, what Malcolm X was going with that is all like kind of into the lack of dependency type of thing too. You know what I mean? Where he's saying that the white man established his way to employ his own people. We could learn how to do the same thing so we don't have to depend on them and go to them looking for them to try to, and we fight for jobs and try to get from them, and when we could just employ our own people. Which bring me to the point of the spiderweb doctrine, you know what I mean, which I was kind of brought to from this book, Capitalist Nigga. You know what I mean? But the spiderweb doctrine is just like basically just trapping your money in your community, okay? All right, well, this is the spiderweb doctrine. It's like when the spider web is spun, anything caught into the web doesn't get out. You know what I mean? Like when a spider web spins its web, ant, fly, anything caught into the web is not going to get out, and it's going to just become something that the spider web is going to consume. It's just done for. But when money comes into our community, it should not leave. What happens when money circulates within a group using an economic multiplier theory? $1 invested into the community accrues to $8 and then eventually becomes $164. You know what I mean? And that's like just how money multiplies when being kept in your own community. And a lot of other cultures follow this doctrine. Like, just for example, we're going to bring into other cultures, like the Indians. The Indians have cornered a market for themselves. Like, if you go to a newsstand in New York, only people that own newsstands in New York are the Indians. The Indians control that as far as a market for themselves, where they employ their own people. You know, they bring in their own people from from their country, make sure that they good, because they control the newsstands, the taxi business, and the hotels. And then you got where the Indians sort of gave like their system to they cousins, which is the Pakistanis, and you recognize that the Indians and the Pakistanis control the oil business as far as gasoline. Whenever you go to a gas station, who do you normally see pumping your gas and that you handing over money to? It's Pakistani or Indian. And then you got like the Asians, where they control the electronics. Well, I'm not just going to say the Asians, it's more so the Japanese. Almost any electronic that you have in your house is owned by a Japanese, where you look into anything in your house, and all the electronics usually got a Japanese name, whether it's Samsung, Hitachi, or whatever it is a Japanese-owned business, where the Japanese has cornered the market as far as electronics goes. And then you have the Jews, you know, which were once an oppressed culture, just the same as us black people, you know. They have a market where they have cornered the market, where they only employ their people and all that stuff, which is the real estate. Like, you know, if you talk about land, the Jews own all the land and the real estate, where they corner the market for us people, for their own people. So they have a system that once money comes into their community, they don't let it out. You know what I mean? And us black people, we need to do the same thing. Okay? So that's like the spiderweb doctrine. Once money comes into your community, lock that money in. Us black people, we are known as just a consumer race. In the book I read that we are viewed as people of no value because we don't own nothing. We have no necessity. They don't need us for nothing. You know what I mean? All we do is make money and then spend it. You know what I mean? Like, people are taught about black people when they come here that, you know, we are unbiased with who we spend our money with. Like, you know, a Chinese person, they come here, we got hella Chinese food restaurants. I'm going to use Chinese as an example because I know a lot of you niggas buy Chinese food every fucking day. Yo, y'all don't cook, y'all don't do none of that shit. Y'all buy hella Chinese food, but it becomes a market where the Chinese are able to capitalize. They raise their little Chinese baby, say, okay, you want to learn how to cook the fried chicken? You feed your baby. We going to raise you. You get your own Chinese store, and we going to serve the black people. They going to buy a lot of chicken, and you going to make a lot of money. You're going to make a lot of money. Black people buy a lot of chicken wing, fried rice. You know? And they taught that kind of stuff because it's factual. It's no bullshit. It might be funny to you, but it's very real. When it comes to us black people, we got to raise the standard of our spending. And you might take my words for granted, but you know, sometimes you got to hear it from somebody else. So could we go into the other clip of the guy talking about black investment? You know what I mean? The black investor clip. The brother talking on the street. You know what I mean? Might not take my word for it. He might take my word for granted. Listen to somebody else.
You think about it. You said something about the whole situation of why we black people have spending power. And it's because we have spending power because we don't own anything.
It's a fact. It's the one thing that's a fact. Black people overcome every challenge, if you think about it. Black people don't took over Europe before, parts of Asia and everything. Black people don't did it before. But the thing is, now in America, black people don't have a direction to walk to. It's just that, okay, I accomplished getting money, I got this and I got that. Now, instead of doing things that's positive with the money, like, you know, let me own a few buildings. You know what, I got a few friends that also got money. Let me let's get a community and let's put the community together and we can live as black people in this community. They don't do that. The first thing they do is, you know, I got money, let's go spend. But what they're spending their money on is on useless shit that they don't need. So
they are spending.
Yeah. So think about it. If you're spending your money on things
useless
things that don't matter.
Okay.
Put it this way. There are things you can spend that have value, and then there's non-value spending. Sneakers and all that shit is non-value spending. Me buying a painting that's worth $50,000 is value spending. You see what I'm saying? Me buying an apartment or a car or something that's used for another purpose is important spending. You know what? I'm gonna buy me a business spot, and then I'm gonna create a business or whatever I want to do, but it's gonna be in charge of me getting more money. People spend without trying to spend to get more money. That's the thing. And white people, they do everything according to money. That's why they be stressed out. Think about it. You think I'm lying? Look at the Enron scam and look at all these scams. Look at where the black people live. Oh, y'all getting scammed now. Look at your house now. Some of y'all looking at your apartment. You look like you got cracks and shit. Who own your building? A lot of y'all, if you live in Brooklyn, you got a Jewish building owner. His house is nice as fuck with prison gates on it. And your apartment looks like shit because none of y'all take the time to understand what you want. At the end of the day, if you want to be...
But meanwhile, we know how to ball out in the club, though.
So you can ball out, but you're not... Pretty much this way. I'm going to end it off this. I'm going to end it off this way. In America, nowadays, after they done got rid of all the leaders, after all the people who wanted to really do things and fight for all these rights are all old, dead, or in jail, nowadays, all we want to do is live the front in life. I want to front. I got all these jeans, Ferragamo jeans, and all these shit, but at the end of the day, do you have the means behind that? For instance, white dude walk up the block. He ain't got a Ferragamo pants on, none of that. Regular sketches on, but his bank account is on. Black dude got all this fancy shit on, but he's trying to look good. But at the end of the day, if you take him out of his community and out of where who's he's trying to impress, he looks like a clown. Because at the end of the day, now when somebody actually put that money, you know, where your attire is, what do you have? You see what I'm saying? And I had to go through that because at the end of the day, I used to think that I knew everything until I got on the platform to where I had to sit there and tell people certain things, and I had to learn from them. And if you can't learn from somebody else, you finished. If you don't know what to do with your money, you're finished. And if you have your kids early and you don't allow yourself time to grow and give your kids a great source of growing, pretty much meaning if your kid have no foundation, the kid is always going to keep falling. If the kid rises, the kid might rise without you because you didn't give your kid the foundation. You see what I'm saying? Your kids need foundation. So if you're 16, got a kid, and then you're like, oh, I don't understand why my kid is bad, and you're 20 years old now, your kid is bad as hell. It's because you think about it. You raise your kid 9 times out of 10 without a father because man is not willing to stay there because his mother already told him so as a young child. So you're raising a kid, got nobody there for you, yet you knew the circumstances and you still did it because of your feelings. It's not smart. Men, you know you got to go to school, you know you got to get money, you know you got to support a family, yet you're not. So it's like at the end of the day, you have conflicting with yourself. If you knew your history, if you knew how to do things and somebody would have portrayed what you're supposed to do as a man and as a woman, you would be all right. But nowadays, there's no role models. There's nobody teaching these kids. The schools don't give a fuck. And at the end of the day, they're teaching you lies anyway.
That's the thing.org.
And
alright. Yeah, I played that clip, you know what I mean, so y'all can hear from somebody else, you know what I mean? We just got to up the standard of our spending. You know what I mean? We got to stop trying to look good and be good. I mean, more so and be good, you know what I mean? But you know, we got to be better with our dollars. And I just want to play this next clip just to let y'all know y'all are a target, yo. Because people are taught that black people are nothing but consumers. So could we go into the next clip, which is the secret of selling the Negro? Hope niggas ain't going to sleep on me out there, you know what I mean? I might try to kick that knowledge and shit.
You got the level on that, Joe? Hey,
I share something with you.
All right, the light's hot enough. Don't forget the dolly and close. All right, return stay clear at number 2 camera, and all set. Stand by.
Okay, y'all see this shit, right? This is a whole production put together teaching about the selling of the Negro. You know what I mean? This is a whole production put together. Did we jump to like the 2-minute portion? Step ahead. It's a
Hello,
long
I'm
thing.
Bob Trout. I've got a story here that I think is big, really big, because it's bound to have a terrific impact on business. I'm talking about a new market, a big new market, millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend.
Hold
That's
up,
right.
15 billion. That number, this clip right here, this clip right here is from 1954. They talking about a new market, which they say is worth 15 billion. And if you checked out the Malcolm X clip, Malcolm X said 20 billion in his clip. So we talking about generate like the transition of time, and at this point in time, the black spending power is at $1.1 trillion. Okay, so could we skip to the 3 minute 15 mark?
Yes, this is the market we're talking about, the new Negro family. Their name is Wells or Wilson, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Breen.
Yeah, that's one of your names. They targeting y'all.
New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. They're good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. All too often, though, they're overlooked prospects.
Yeah,
Why?
y'all are targets.
Hold
on, let's pause it. Get ready for the next clip. But you see, they got y'all rationed out to names. They have presumed black names, Smith, Green, all the different kind of names, and they know exactly where y'all are in the inner cities, you know. So they like, okay, well, we got these people by these names, and they in these different locations. Y'all are a focal target point for them to make money, because they know that niggas is out here making money and spending it, and they want to get in where they fit in. I wonder, are y'all planning the same thing for them, or do y'all not have that kind of knowledge? All right, well, let's go to the next clip. Next portion. You know what I mean? 5 minute mark.
The National Association of Real Estate Boards.
Well, maybe, but I've always heard that Negroes buy shoddy, poor quality merchandise.
No, it's just the other way around. According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. You see, there are a lot of confused notions about the Negro customer. But when you dig right down and find out about them, they just don't hold water. Negroes own homes. They meet their payments faithfully. They buy good brands of merchandise. So why let a lot of old-fashioned ideas hurt profits? Take a look at the real facts. Here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, some amazing facts and figures about this new market have been uncovered. For a first-hand report, we would like to take you directly to the United States Department of Commerce to hear this story from the Secretary of Commerce himself. Here is the Honorable Sinclair Weeks, the Secretary of Commerce of the United States.
In the Department of Commerce, we are constantly alert to trends that mean a healthier national economy, better business for the nation as a whole. Recently, we have been interested in a rising young market, one that represents a huge potential for goods and services. I'm referring to the new Negro market. The tremendous buying power of this group is backed, of course, by an increased earning power. The average Negro family's income is at a record high. In fact, since 1939, it has increased more than the average income of all other Americans.
Yeah, keeping track of y'all.
Let's take a look at a few figures. An official Department of Commerce report shows...
Pause that. Hold on, y'all can see that? Y'all see that? That is symbolic of y'all black people right there. That little black thing with no face, that is y'all. That is y'all, the black people. They calculate y'all, they watching y'all. That is symbolic of y'all. What the fuck is that? That's the little black man. They ready for the black money. So they keep tabs on y'all dollars. You know what I mean? Well, let's skip forward. You know, this is a long clip. But y'all can find this on YouTube. This is the selling of of the Negro. This is how they plan to sell to y'all. This is something that is taught to them. You know what I mean? Let's skip to the next portion. Let's skip ahead.
Total income of about $15 billion every year.
At this point, 1.1 trillion.
Negro families still have many billions of dollars to spend. Here is a buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general. When these dollars are spent for a wide range of goods, services, and employment, business everywhere is bound to feel the impact.
Yeah, hold up. Business. They say business everywhere is bound to have impact, but when they say business everywhere, they not expecting y'all black people to have businesses. They talking about how businesses everywhere when it comes to the white businesses. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? This is a time for y'all to have a awakening and recognize, you know, y'all could be in this market too, where y'all could capitalize on these black dollars, but we need more black businesses. And in order for the black business to support, black people got to come correct. All right, let's skip ahead to whatever. All right, yeah, and I wanted to just bring up another point about, like, we live in cities, yo. Like, we live in cities around all the stores. That's what, like, cities are filled with. And then, like, how many of these stores are really black owned? Like, we are in these areas where we spend a lot of money because we are the closest to all the stores. We are closest to everything to buy first. You know what I mean? Why don't we own all these stores? So if everybody else owns businesses except for us, where's our money going? Where's our money going? You know what I mean? And also just wanted to note something else that we about to skip by in the film, is that the fact that they brought up a product cannot be #1 without Negro support. A product can never be #1 without Negro support. So that just also touches on the spending power of black folk. You know what I mean? All right, let's skip ahead to the next part, where about Negro revival anyone.
You've got to get to know them. You must understand something about them. What do the Negro customers buy? Why do they buy? How do you sell to them? Let's find out. Let's hear the opinion of men who have spent a lifetime studying the buying habits of customers the world over. Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others. What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of sale. If you do, he'll probably react something like this.
Doesn't he think I've got the money to pay for it?
There's a reason for this reaction. Again, because he's had experience with cheap merchandise, the Negro resents being offered a substitute. He wants to be sold on quality, not price. The Negro buys by brand, he buys quality, and he doesn't like to be switched at point of sale. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer. Another point. The Negro family does things together, as a group.
Okay. All right.
The family works as a unit.
Yeah, because we know this part a little outdated, because if you know niggas like I know, y'all family ain't together for shit. It's like, I hate to put it like that, but I'm joking now. But you know, I brought up this video, you know what I mean, just to show how, like, y'all are targeted as a market. Like, well, not y'all, us as black people, we're targeted as a market because they know that we are a consumer race. You know what I mean? So with that, I just advise that we as black people employ the spiderweb doctrine, which is that money comes in with that money that comes into our community. We got to keep it in our community. That means that it's a necessity for us to support black business. You know what I mean? Because like the Indians and the Chinese and all that type of stuff, how often do you recognize an Indian or a Chinese or somebody like that to put money in your hand? And I ain't talking about giving your change back. You know what I mean? Because that's because you giving them money. But because they have systems within their race and their culture where they lock money into their culture and they not giving it back. And as long as we just keep giving them our money, we are going to weaken our race and our culture because they not giving that money back. They locking it in and empowering their own people. You know what I mean? That's why they build businesses in our community, because they know that we are consumer races. We are unbiased with who we spend our money with, and we are just targets. We are victims of our own circumstance. You know what I mean? But it's time that we do better. But I'm just going to go into this last little portion of the clip, which is actually the secret of selling to Negro, which even some of you Negroes could apply. We just play that last little portion.
And remembered the ad in ebony. But now, wait a minute. If the Negro market is so big and easy to reach, why aren't more companies going out after it? Well, often because of the feeling that there's something entirely different, unusual about selling to the Negro. But is it really so different? What do salesmen say? The successful salesmen who do a good job of selling in Negro communities. How do you go about getting the order?
How do I get the order? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't do anything. Anything different, that is. I've been calling on these accounts long enough to know that the Negro just wants to be treated like everybody else. No matter who you're calling on, a little friendliness and courtesy help a lot. And naturally, anybody resents being patronized or talked down to. So I usually call a man Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, or Mr. whatever his name is, until he tells me to call him by his first name. And of course, I always stick to business. I stay away from talk about race or religion or politics. That goes for talk about Negro celebrities, too. You know, this business about what good prize fighters and singers the Negroes are. Who cares? When a guy's in business, no matter what color his skin is, he's interested in making a living, in making money. That's uppermost in his mind. I guess maybe what I'm saying is that I try to help any way I can. Sometimes with displays or ad materials, or an idea once in a while. The important thing is that if it helps push sales for the dealer, it helps push them for me, too.
Handle the Negro account just like any of your others. Don't patronize. Stick to business. Get interested in the account. Pitch in and help any way you can. Sounds like pretty good sales advice. That's the secret of selling the Negro.
That's the secret to selling a Negro. All right. That's where I wanted to go with it. You know what I mean? Even now that we all have paid attention, that is the secret of selling to the Negro. We all want to be treated the same. You know what I mean? We don't want to be treated as less than. We want to be given good advice or where we want the advice. You know what I mean? And all that type of stuff. We want, like you said, signs and all that type of stuff. All that stuff help to make a shopping experience better. You know what I mean? So as black business people, we need to just take heed. You know what I mean? Use some of the tactics that's even employed on us. You know what I mean? To get some of that support, you know, and turn the tables around on this thing. You know what I mean? It's time for us to have our own awakening. Yo, we got to keep our own money in our community. You know what I mean? Stop giving away all our dollars because that's what they trying to do because they think we don't know better. You know what I mean? So I'm going to wrap up this show, get my final words. I thank y'all for watching. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Shout out to everybody who commented. Shout out to everybody who shared. Shout out to everybody who gonna share. It's Tittz Live, you know what I mean? It's my final words. If we truly want better, we all need to level up in the ways that we see each other, treat each other, and serve each other. Let's not just look great. Let's do great and live great. It's Tittz Live. Love more, fear less. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Chicken shit. Thanks, Mom, for the chicken too.